Show number 18.
Harvey.
And now our wonderful host, Mr. Omar, waiting there to get on. Hello and welcome to episode 18 of Do You Really Know? We have a special guest today, Harvey. Let's get into our airplanes and fly over to the UK. Here we go. All right, we just landed in the UK. Let's go ahead and bring in our wonderful guest and friend from the UK. He has the #1 show called The Franchise Show. We'll talk about that in a bit. We're going to have some surprises as well for him. He's going to enjoy it. Let's bring him in, our friend, Mr. Harvey Tuck. How you doing, sir?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Excellent. I'm excited. This is show 18. We finally got time to get you on the show.
I'm delighted to be here. It's always wonderful to be here with you, Omar. You are a legend. And the last time I was on one of your wonderful shows, I had a great time running around my house trying to find different things and answer some questions. It was great fun. So
awesome.
It's good to be here.
You're also a legend yourself. You have the #1 show, which is the Franchise Show. And I'm so honored that you have time to come on my program today on the Sunday.
Always make time to come on your program.
Awesome.
The honor is mine.
If you're ready or not, do we really know Harvey? Are you ready to find out? Here we go. Question 1. Okay. What is the origin of your last name, Tuck? Where does that originate from?
My last name originates from the area of Norwich and Ipswich, which is where my family originated from as well. In fact, I have a picture of my grandfather's shop, which was in Ipswich, and he was a tailor in Ipswich. In about 1890 something. His name was Frederick Tuck. Yes, our name originates from that part of the world in the east of England, and my family too come from that part of the world.
Awesome. And that is part of UK, correct?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
You basically didn't really move much from where you're at.
Yeah, no, not a huge amount. No. Awesome. I currently live in Hastings, of course, famous for a little battle.
That's cool. I'm not sure if you knew about this, but we're from Bosnia originally. Maybe I told you, but that's where. So we migrated way far, all the way to Arizona. So it's been quite a journey.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's say hello to our friend Kelly, who's on before from the Don Cohen show, and that's how we met. Also, grateful to be here and learn about my friend. Yes, she was on the program in January. Now it's Harvey's turn. Awesome. Anything else you wanted to add to that, Harvey?
No, I think that was, I used to have and I don't know if I've still got it, but I used to have a framed thing with some more details about the origin of my name, but I do know it's from that part of the world, awesome. Which is also where my family come from. So
that's awesome. And also having that picture and then your grandfather and all that.
Yeah. Look, I'll tell you what, look, I'll show you the picture. Here we go. Oh, not many people get to see the background of my office, but there you go.
Oh, that's beautiful. Go ahead and put it in the center there so we can see it. Oh, that's awesome. Wow. So that's a painting? It's a painting there, right?
Yes.
Beautiful. I love that. That's awesome. All right. Appreciate that. I don't think anybody ever showed us a painting before. You're the first one. Okay,
Well, there you
question
go.
2. Here we go. All right. Okay, your favorite board game. If you would be bored, what board game would you play?
That's a good question. What board game would I play? I always liked Monopoly when I was a little boy. It always went on a long time in our family. But actually, we got a game recently here. It's I think it's called Shadows in the Forest, and it's a
Oh,
great game. It's a German game, and you have these trees, and you have a little tea-light candle, and you move the candle around the board, and it creates shadows with these trees, and the other players are like little tiny characters, and you have to hide in the shadows in this game. It's nice to play it at night time because it
oh,
lights up the room and you keep it all dark and it's nice and atmospheric. But so that's good. I love, as I say, I love playing Monopoly. That's always good fun.
that's awesome. I mean, yeah, that's better to do the board games. Now, kids unfortunately are always on their devices and things. But I remember those days.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Scrabble. My
Oh,
grandfather was
Scrabble.
a big
Yes, I love Scrabble.
chess player. My grandfather in the 80s and 90s, he plays chess, and he
Oh,
always beat us. And so even Scrabble as well. So we always used to get the game and try to compete with him when we go overseas, and he always beats us. It's amazing. He was such a smart guy. But
oh,
Scrabble and
absolutely.
chess, all these. Monopoly is a good one too. Somebody got that for me for my birthday one time, and I still have it. I think somewhere in my parents' house.
No, I love Scrabble as well. Actually, Scrabble is my wife and I played Scrabble we played it on the board, but we had an app for a while on our phones, and we used to play it a lot together. Great fun. I used to play it with my mum. I suppose the other thing, I don't know if this counts as a board game, but I used to love Lego, and
Oh,
probably
there you go. Absolutely. Oh, everybody knows that.
yeah,
Awesome. Let me
yeah.
say hello to Sue. It's been a while. I haven't seen you. Sue's a lovely friend. She's in the UK. I'm not sure if you know Sue. She's wonderful. Thank you for your
Excellent.
support. Awesome show tonight. Okay. And then also Kinga. Everybody knows Kinga.
Of
She's
course.
wonderful. She's European as well, like us. And very beautiful person. Very nice, enthusiastic. I want to try to get her on the show as well. And she loves Scrabble. I connected the board games. Yep, everybody loves Scrabble, right? There was even a
Yeah.
game show, TV show of Scrabble in the
Oh,
U.S. I'm not
really?
sure if you know about that. I think Chuck Woolery was hosting it, and it
Oh,
lasted for a
okay.
while. So it was a fun show to watch in this, I think, 80s or the 90s, I think. So it was a fun show. Yeah.
When you were talking about chess there as well, so my sons, my wife and I have 4 children between us, but my youngest son Charlie, who's 15, he's good at chess, and he bought a book the other day, and the book was called How to Beat Your Dad at Chess, but he can already beat me.
Interesting.
I need to read the book.
Oh yeah, exactly, exactly. That's good. Let's go on to the next question. Okay, when I was 5 years old, I enjoyed what? What did Harvey enjoy as a 5-year-old?
5 years old, gosh, that's
Go
going
back to
back
memory lane. We're gonna
that's
go
going
back
back
to
quite a
memory
long
lane.
time. Yes, yes. What did I enjoy when I was 5? I used to enjoy making camps. We had a park relatively near where we lived, and we would go out there and we'd have a picnic, and you kind of like get some branches and cover them in leaves and make this little sort of den in the woods. I used to enjoy doing that. I think when I was 5, gosh, that's such a long time, such a long time ago. I suppose also, I think I was just about getting into Lego, perhaps there, maybe a little bit older.
Yeah.
And I think I always remember like having pets at a young age. So we had a dog, and I'd always enjoy going for walks with the dog and throwing a ball and all that sort of thing. So I think spending time with my family, I'm sure, and playing games and all that type of thing.
That's amazing. You actually did a preview for another question about pets, so
Ah,
that's coming up soon.
there you
That's okay though. That's okay. All right, let's go to the next question, Harvey. That's always fun to go back to memory lanes, right? Okay. Okay, here we go. Do you have a pet or your favorite? Kind of different. So right now, currently, do you have a pet?
Yes, we
And if
do.
not, what was your favorite in the past?
Okay, well, we have a pet at the moment. We have a cat, and his name is Pebbles,
Pebbles. Nice.
and he's white and ginger, and
Wow.
he's the only cat I've ever had. We had dogs when I was growing up, and I had pet mice, hamsters.
Wow.
I had a black and white rabbit called Checkers. I remember that,
Cool.
like the checkered flag.
Oh, that's awesome. What color was it? Was it black
It was
and white?
black and white. Black and white.
That's awesome. I like it when they're patched, like their eyes wide and then
Yes.
wide.
Yeah, that's it.
We actually had a chicken actually in the backyard.
Did you?
Like, one chicken. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
What was your chicken called?
What did they call it? This was like my sister and brother wanted. This was like 10 years ago. I have to remember. It was they had many names for it, but it was the white one, like the leghorn one. There was a brown one, and you always remember the peck. I got to go back and check what they actually named it. But there was a name. It'll probably come back to me later as we're speaking here. It always does. But yeah, it's always interesting having these odd animals. Let's say hello to Kinga again here. She wrote a little note. I wanted to catch animal prints in the mud, but nothing would happen, so I'd make my cat walk through it. Nice. That's awesome.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Awesome. All right. And also, let's see, our friend Cyrus here. Love the podcast. He's a new friend. I met him actually last week. He's also in UK. So today, the population and the audience is a lot of UK people. That's great. Cyrus is a wonderful person, very wonderful. And the second I met him, he said, "You're good at what you do." So he's a wonderful guy.
Well, you sure are.
I appreciate that. Mine was Maine Coon, or how do you pronounce that?
Oh yes, a Maine Coon cat. They're really, really big cats. Probably wouldn't even fit on the screen. Huge.
Yeah. Oh wow. That's
like
amazing.
lions, they are.
I should have a category about cats one time, maybe.
Yeah.
Because all right, next question. Chocolate or cake?
Oh, cake.
Cake. And why?
Well, I think you can do more things with a cake, and also you associate a cake with celebrating things and spending time, and also I think back to some cakes my wife has made me for my birthdays in the past, and they were all good fun. I did attempt to make a cake as well once. I made it in the shape of a house we once lived in for my wife's birthday. It was a sponge cake, and it had you see, look, Kinga's got a good idea there. Chocolate cake. Yeah, that's a very good idea.
What about a chocolate cake? Chocolate cake is something beautiful there. Maybe I've tried it before. I've heard of it, but that would be nice. Mix it up together. Why not mix it up?
That's it.
Right?
That's
Mix
it.
up.
Yes.
That would be interesting. I always enjoyed the ice cream cake, right, for my birthdays and stuff. And
yes, I remember that for birthday parties. It was called Arctic Roll.
I love those.
And then so it had ice cream in the center, and then sponge around the outside. So,
wow!
I definitely remember having an Arctic Roll as a kid. Would that count as cake or
I
ice
guess
cream?
So, yeah, we can call it cake. I'll call it cake. All right.
Yes, I might go an Arctic Roll.
Exactly. Here's our friend Jane. Hola. She's in California. She's wonderful. We just recognized a few more people here. Jane again. Excellent solution. And then Kinga says, so cool, Harvey. I love the architect's idea. I think she was talking about the photo, maybe, I guess. I don't know.
That's strange that you say that, because my dad was an architect. So, yes.
Interesting. Wow.
In the family.
we have an engineering family in background. Actually, my dad, I am an engineer. My brother is an engineer. My uncles are engineers. My dad's uncle's an engineer. So engineering runs in the family, especially civil. It's like you.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
next question. Should it be called football or soccer? You know my answer, but what is your answer? We actually spell it with a U, so it's foot, like with a D, kind of football, basically. That's how they spell it in there, and I'm sure Kingas can relate too. What would you say, Harvey?
Well, it depends what sport we're talking about here. But if we're talking about football as I know it, then it would be
Yeah,
football.
football.
I think, but if we're talking about, I guess if we're talking about American football, and then you're trying to decipher the difference between the two, that's why soccer has come in. But yes,
Yeah,
I suppose football would be the way I would go there.
awesome, awesome. All right, here we go. Okay, someone I would love to have dinner with, either dead or alive. Somebody.
Ooh. Um,
That's a broad question. Like it could be anybody.
that's a very good question.
I would have loved to have any of those game show hosts like Alex Trebek or Regis Philbin. Any of those people, they're dead now. They were my biggest fans. That's who I would love to have, or maybe some presidents. Uh,
Yes,
who
yes.
is your fan? Do you have a fan, Harvey?
Am I a fan of somebody? Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah. I guess the answer to this question is my own family. If I
oh
was
yeah,
to have dinner with somebody, it would be my own family, and I can and do. I don't think I've got a desire to have dinner with a sort of kind of celebrity. I suppose if it had to be someone of the past, I
yeah.
don't know, somebody like maybe Leonardo da Vinci or something like that. I've always been a bit of an inventor. I like
Yeah.
inventing things. There's all sorts of things that I've invented or attempted to invent over the years. So I guess a famous inventor would be good. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you who I would say. Here we go.
Let me
I'd
close the
say
door real quick. Go ahead and talk. I'm going to close the door real quick on my end.
Yeah, I would say Doc Brown from Back to the Future, but as Doc Brown, not Christopher Lloyd.
Oh yeah, and that was actually a category when we did the kudos
It was.
game, and so that one was more of a fun one. Mine is more serious. So
Oh, I
that's
know.
what he
I
doesn't. He
know.
doesn't put that. So that one definitely is that. But
You're
yeah,
never you're never serious, Omar.
except with the trivia, exactly. So
You
that's good.
always
Okay.
have a smile on your face.
Oh yes, it's always good to have it out, but you have to try to put a straight face when you can. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, all right, we're almost done. We have a few more questions here. You made a made a house cake. That's awesome. And then, she said sports ball. They call it sports ball, not soccer. Awesome, awesome. All right, yeah, and I like the point that you mentioned family. I would also like to have in touch with my family from the past, great grandparents, people that you hear about them that you were not alive at the time. See how they were like, and have dinner with them. Say, hey, I'm your relative, and they can look at you back and like, what? So I always have the picture of Star Wars, with the Force Ghost, like they're all watching you there. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. If I would write a book or another one, if you haven't wrote one, what would you name it?
Ooh, if I was to write a book, um, that's a very good question. And it's definitely not another one. I haven't written a book yet.
You haven't written.
The only
your
book
first one.
that I'm planning that could possibly come about would be an anthology anyway.
Okay.
Because the guests that have been on the franchise show have always added such a lot of value, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to let them write a book for me in a way, or let them write the book and us all share on it. So I suppose that's the only book that I would that's perhaps coming up that I might be involved in. Yeah. And I guess it would be probably not particularly entertaining in terms of its name, because it would probably be an anthology of the franchise show. But I guess I've always had a good imagination.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I did when I was in my late teens, I started to write a book with my friend.
Uh-huh.
It was a book about the series of films, the Carry On films. When we were little kids, we liked these funny films, and we were going to write a book about it. We never finished it, and I don't know what it was going to be called, but I always admire people that write books, and I've got lots of them behind me that my friends now have written. A lot of people that I've met here. So it's amazing when people can pull that together and write a story or write a book that helps someone.
Amazing. It's amazing.
So, I've always had a good imagination, so perhaps there is a book in me. But I would have to let you know next time what it's going to be called.
Absolutely. It's not an easy question. Absolutely. I would probably write a trivia book if I can, just to educate people.
Yes.
I always thought about writing, ever since I was younger. I had a diary. I would write stuff. I'm not really an English person, but then I'm more of a math-oriented person. So that would be something. Yeah.
Well, I will say, though, my diary is a handwritten one. Look, you see. I don't...
yes, exactly.
I don't have an online... I mean, I do have online diaries, but I put everything into a handwritten diary.
Exactly. Nothing like the old style of writing and all that. It's beautiful, We're now all typing and all that. So there's a couple more questions.
I do enjoy writing, and I do enjoy... I like writing letters sometimes. Every now and again, I will write my wife a letter.
Awesome.
And I've got a really nice fountain pen that someone made for me many years ago. And my wife and I occasionally write letters to our relatives, and we've got a little stamp, and we've got a wax sealing kit.
Oh, wow.
And the stamp has got both our initials in a heart, which we can seal the letters with. So
that's awesome.
Got a nice way of
my grandfather used to, for every birthday, write me a letter. Like, he was educated. He knew like 4 languages, and he would write us in English, and every birthday send us some cash and mail it over for all of his grandkids. So he was such a wonderful, generous guy. He lived until like 92. And so he just was the one where he played tennis up to that. So that's something that we can look forward to. But letter writing is something we don't do as often. That's something that we can relate to, because in the next generations, in 20 years from now, people will be like, what is this? They'll be confused. But you need to always, and writing, well, I mean, it can be destroyed, but you can save it. If it's paper, you got to be careful from water or other things to destroy it, right? It's valuable material, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Very much. Very much.
Yeah. Let's go here. We have one more question. This one, and then the last final question, and then we have a surprise for you. Okay. If I would invent an item to help mankind, what would it be?
This is a great question.
I ask this one for everybody. Everybody gets the same question. Some people say cure cancer or other diseases, and
as I say, I enjoy inventing things, first of all, but I think something to help mankind. I listened to somebody being interviewed, and they were just over 100 years old. And when people live to a great age, they're often asked, aren't they, for, I don't know, tips about living a long time. And she said that don't be angry, and be kind to one another. And it pointed towards not getting stressed. So I think if you could help people be more tolerant and understanding of other people and other ways of doing things, I think it would help mankind a lot. So I think if you could invent a way for someone to be able to see things through another lens, and understand a different perspective. So perhaps some glasses that when you put them on, it shows you the perspective of somebody else.
Yeah, that's good, because a lot of times, let's say, for example, you have a class and somebody cancels it or something happens. You don't know what's happening in their end. And immediately, as a human nature, we tend to get upset about it, but we don't know the other side. And that's a good point. We need to know. And a lot of people are quiet about it. They don't want to say what they're going on, but we need to communicate better with each other and not be afraid of what's happening. I like that. Then nobody said that before. Smart, like they had the Google glasses. We can have the anger glasses. Anger, that's glasses. Exactly. So awesome. Harvey, can you close your eyes for a second there? And
Look, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do that.
I can do that. Okay, so let me bring in a special guest here. Good afternoon, sir. Harvey. Guess who we have?
Hey,
Mr. Don Cohen himself managed to stop by. How are you, sir? Good afternoon.
I'm doing great. Thanks so much, Omar. I'm such a big fan of yours and your shows. You were gracious enough to have me on this show and Zoom party and my grandson. So you're part of the family. And naturally, Harvey is like a brother and such a quality individual. So I couldn't find a better way to spend a Sunday than saying hello and really appreciating all these little details about Harvey I never knew of. So, you're building more context. So, yeah, that's just pleased to be here.
oh, it's good to see you here, Don.
Yeah, I was like, you would be a perfect guest to come in as a surprise since you guys are close. I'm glad you accepted.
Well, if I was there, I'd give you a hug, Don.
Well, and I think that's the cool thing about these programs and live streaming is it gets people from all over the world with all kinds of different perspectives to meet in real time with real thought and real conversation. And that's really something that's rare and maybe could be the foundation for Harvey's desire to see less anger and more love in the world.
Absolutely. I like that. That's awesome. All right. Appreciate you guys coming in. And how did you find Don Cohen while you're here, Harvey? Do you remember the first time? In fact, I think it's been a year since I was on your show, Don Cohen, back in March 2023. And so this is kind of an anniversary special that we're kind of doing here that I never planned. So it was just part of the universe. And it was that. So,
well, congratulations. And it just shows everything kind of goes full circle.
Exactly.
Well, in answer to that question, I can't exactly, and I've often thought about this, how I trace back, because I often talk about it only takes one connection to change your life. I say that at the bottom of my posts, and Don's absolutely one of those people that I could put in the category of a connection that's changed my life. No doubt about that. I know that I happened upon his show Hour of Empower, and I watched it a couple of times quiet in the background, and I listened to it, and the show always made me feel better just listening. And then I commented a few times, and you comment on these things, other shows, and sometimes those comments are there and they're not recognized. And I commented, and my comment came up on the screen, and Don read it out, and it made me feel really included and really engaged, and it was such a positive thing. And I stayed a few times commenting, getting to know other people on the platform, and then Don reached out and said, "Hey, do you want to do a Zoom?" And I said, "Yeah, that would be fantastic." I mean, I used to listen to podcasts, and I was getting to know Don, and that was like being invited by your favorite podcast host to have a conversation. It was incredibly exciting. We had a conversation, and we got on really, really well. And Don said, "Hey, do you want to be on the show?" And I was taken aback and terrified as well by the prospect of doing something live. And I also thought to myself, oh, well, it will probably likely be 3 or 4 weeks. And, I'll better write down a load of things that I'm meant to be saying and practice these things. And I said, "When's it going to be?" And he said, "Well, how does tomorrow suit you?" And this is coming up to about a year. I think it was 8 time, but he said tomorrow, and I came on the show, and Don is such a kind and giving person, and makes everybody that comes on the show feel so at ease. And I loved it, and I was very, very fortunate enough to be invited back, and then became a regular on the show on a Friday with Christy, wonderful lady, and then on a Sunday, and then with Kelly. And I realized very early on that it was about bringing others up and looking for staying curious about other people. So it wasn't about me and what I was to say. It was about conversations and things that were coming in from the audience, and it was so inclusive of a community. I'd never seen anything like it, and I always admired it. And I always admired the pace of it. It had a beautiful rhythm to it. You know, it wasn't a conversation between two people and the audience separately, just like you do, Omar. You always bring people in. You always talk, you know, it's a community of people that are here. And you and Don and, you know, and Kelly and Christy and other people I can name do such a wonderful job of that. And it really inspired me, and it inspired me to want to do something myself. And Don very graciously and kindly gave me a lot of help and advice. And, you know, we've grown together with this, but I just wanted to emulate something that was so engaging. And the franchise show was born of everything that I learned from Don. And any success of that has been attributed to the ongoing relationships and learnings that we all have together. But yes, it's, as much as I can't remember the exact route as to how I met Don, where we've come and where we're going is huge and really incredibly exciting. So amazing. Wonderful to have Don. I look forward, hopefully, one day to be able to actually fly across the pond and maybe surprise you both. And
oh yeah, that would be great. Do a surprise guest. Like, were you surprised today with Don, or did you kind of had an idea?
No, I was completely surprised. It was,
I told Don, keep it a secret. Maybe you'll be enjoying him to come on the show. And he said yes. So we appreciate. I gotta give you some applause, both of you guys, for being on the program. And let me just play it real quick. Let me play it. There you go. Can you guys hear that? There you go.
Very nice.
Perfect.
And
So yeah,
I want to thank Harvey for being so gracious, and shout out to Kinga, who's another lovely individual that we're colleagues of. And, you know, I think Harvey hit on it. The best getters are the biggest givers up front, right? So it's not always intuitive, but the more you give, the more you help, the more you support, the more it comes back to you in some way or another, or it continues for you through other people. So either way, you get a bigger footprint, but it's a happier place. So thank you again, Omar, for making me a surprise. And actually, me and Harvey and Penny are doing a show tomorrow, so it just gives us something to roll right into.
absolutely. I look forward to watching that definitely tomorrow. Well, we never go over 30 minutes, but we did go over 4 minutes, which is okay because it's a special episode. Thank you guys for showing up, and I'll be back with you guys shortly. I'm going to end the stream. Any last minute words, both of you?
No, just thank you very much. Made my day, and it's always good to see you, Omar, and especially to see Harvey again. Never enough.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me on your show. You do an amazing job here. Always love what you do. Such a lot of enthusiasm. And thank you for everyone who's been here as well. It's been great. Thank you.
Awesome. You do our show number 18. We have 2 more this season, and we're going to end it. See you guys next time.
Thank you.